Tracy Dyson suits up. Wearing the spacesuit underwater will realistically simulate an actual spacewalk. But donning the cumbersome suit takes more than half an hour and requires assistance. The astronauts will not be alone in the pool. A team of safety divers provide assistance and rescue if necessary. This might be the ultimate swimming pool, but there's no diving board. Fins don't work in space, so the astronauts can't wear them here. Instead, the divers guide them to their first task on the space station mock-up. Chris Cassidy, one of the astronauts training today, is a former Navy SEAL. He has been in space twice and helped fix the cooling system emergency.
When you suddenly get told you have to do a spacewalk, it's certainly not a routine thing. But it's a very exciting thing. I really look forward to it.
The divers add just enough weight to the spacesuits to achieve perfect neutral buoyancy.
They tweak moving weights from your legs to your arms to some places in the backpack where they can put them, and they have little tricks on how to distribute the weight so that they can ballast us to be just the right attitude and the right buoyancy.
Of course, one of the first things you have to learn for a spacewalk is how to get in and out of the space station hatch.
When the EV2 guy goes in, he goes in head first. And then the hatch guy, EV1 person, generally does this upside down flip thing so that your feet go in first and your head comes in last.
Remote control cameras around the pool provide wide views of the action, while support divers focus more cameras on the astronauts. These cameras all feed back to the test directors, who monitor the training, ready to abort the mission in case of an emergency. In another room, the test conductors supervise the training activities.
Notify the TD or suit tech and has to hold or stop. Do you copy EV1?
EV1, welcome.
Suit tech on EV1 ECS. Set the delta pressure to 4 PSID on the red umbilical ECS.
Simulating Alpha 6.
After they finish practicing getting in and out of the hatch, it's time to practice the critical cooling system repair.
There's a few critical pieces of equipment on the outside of the space station that if they break, it mandates the spacewalk immediately to go repair them. And this pump flow control system is one of those things.
The astronauts move to the module the same way they do in space, hand over hand on grab rails. Today, Cassidy will work with astronaut Jeff Williams.
The NBL is amazingly lifelike. It gives you a true appreciation for what it's like to work in the spacesuit and manipulate tools and equipment. It really, really prepares you well.
hours of training, it's time to go home. Cassidy has lived aboard the International Space Station. He knows what it's like to live in close quarters with a bunch of people and no gravity. How do you train for living in space? 1,000 miles away, the tropical paradise of Key Largo, Florida. This team of astronauts, including 2 from the United States, 1 from France, and 1 from Japan, are about to learn a little bit about life aboard the International Space Station. It's a training program called NEMO, NASA Extreme Environment Mission Operations. Aquarius Reef Basin, 60 feet below the ocean surface. This underwater habitat, operated by Florida International University, will be the astronauts' home for the next 10 days. The surface may seem like space. There is no Aquarius is open at the bottom, so divers can get in and out. But that means the pressure inside is always the same as the pressure outside. After only a few hours, the astronauts' blood will become saturated with nitrogen. When it's time to go home, they will need to spend several hours decompressing, gradually decreasing the pressure to allow the nitrogen to dissipate slowly. If they head right to the surface, it can form bubbles in the blood, a condition known as the bends, which can be fatal. Until the day they decompress, the astronauts are stuck here. Inside, Aquarius is about the size of a school bus. It's tight quarters, and that's the point, says Jeanette Epps, one of the astronauts participating in the mission.
6 people on the space station, 6 people in the habitat. We're all living in very close quarters. We probably have a lot more space on the space station and a lot more privacy, but the similarities are there.
In the middle of the habitat, a tiny galley table with a nice view of the reef below. And at the far end, bunks for everyone. Air and electricity come down from the life support buoy floating overhead. Reserve tanks on the sea floor hold an emergency air supply. A support boat makes daily deliveries. Fresh supplies and equipment packed in watertight cans. The astronauts pack their trash and dirty clothes the same way for the return. Working inside Aquarius, astronaut Akihiko Hoshide of the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency finishes up some notes. Outside, the astronauts practice and test equipment for future space expeditions. Jeanette is heading out on one of those missions. Her umbilical cord provides air and communications during the mission.
The helmet diving is a lot like having the spacesuit on because it can be uncomfortable. You've got this neck thing on, you've got a lot of air bubbles going out, and so you've got to learn how to wear this 33-pound helmet.
French astronaut Thomas Pesquet of the European Space Agency and NASA astronaut Mark Vande Hei are assembling an experimental drill designed to take core samples from asteroids. Underwater, it is possible to replicate the microgravity of an asteroid, a perfect way to test the new drill. But microgravity has challenges.
We wore these restraints that we could use to clamp onto different parts of the drill or onto the surface in order to hold ourselves in place. We also had a foot restraint that we would get into so that we wouldn't basically float away.
The drill ready and anchored in place, they start the test, drilling a sample of the seafloor. After about 4 hours working with the drill, the astronauts head back for lunch. Some of the local inhabitants are probably wondering about these strange creatures marching by. After 20 years on the seafloor, Aquarius has become an artificial reef, teeming with life. But it's not just the sea life watching the astronauts. Remote control cameras are monitored 24 hours a day by an Aquarius staff member. Like Roger Garcia, who can quickly muster help in an emergency. Next door, NASA staff manages the training routines. For these astronauts, cramped working conditions, and the rigors of a spacewalk. They're ready because they trained underwater at the bottom of the ocean and at the bottom of a giant pool. Learning how to maneuver in one alien environment by practicing in another. The surface, so close, but like space, so far from home.
Hello, everyone. This is NASA astronaut Chris Cassidy talking to you from the International Space Station's airlock. Bob Behnken and I just completed a series of spacewalks where we did some of the various tasks, including installing a protective storage unit, which holds a robotic external leak locator. This handy new piece of equipment allows us to monitor the external cooling system for ammonia leaks without having to send an astronaut outside to a potential hazardous area. In the movie you just watched, we were practicing the repair of the cooling system on the space station mock-up in the giant pool in Houston, which we call the NBL. The key to our success up here is rigorous training on Earth, and the days spent underwater in the NBL not only keep our skills sharp, but also prepare us for the incredible experience of living and working here on the International Space Station.